because we actually have a hell of a lot to share with you in this session in what is a short space of time. So we've only got an hour for transformation program updates. Lots to share, lots of people joining us in here to share their work with you. So I think if you're happy, we can sort of crack straight into it. And I'm going to hand over to Lisa to intro.
So quick intro from me, then across to Lisa, and then we've actually got a lot of people to go through. So instead of just being talked at by one person, you get a whole barrage. Okay, so thank you for today. Good agenda today. The case for change, which has been here the whole time, it's our primary driver for why we're here. We're going to look at some of the benefits. We're going to cover off this gateway check-in we've done, which is a bit of a health check of where we're up to. And then an update on some of the major activities that are still underway. And then a bit of a look at what's next. And of course, the obligatory time for questions at the end. So now I'll hand over to Lisa, who will soon follow up with Daniel.
Thank you. And just so you know, whilst this is a briefing, we are recording this as well to be able to share it with our community and into the new triennium. We will do a bit of a revisit again of some of the awesome benefits and things that have been achieved to date. But this slide is new to you, but it's actually a consolidation of a whole lot of elements that you should recognise. So from the strategic framework, our district vision, Waitaki, the best place to be, the collective purpose that you guys worked on a long time ago now in terms of what you wanted to achieve, which is the mission, the empowering our people in place to thrive. And of course, the vision that we've had, we built through transformation, and we've been, working to as a council transformation, a council vision in terms of leading innovative council, delivering the best for our communities. The ambitions and strategies along the bottom there, I hope you also recognise through what we were aiming to achieve through transformation. And this demonstrates that we're continuing to bring those ambitions forward as the transformation program will officially close, but the great work from it and the work that's still to be done will move into our business as usual and become part of that real continuous improvement focus that has been built into our strategy, performance and design directorate going forward. So next slide, I'm sure that none of you have heard of these before, our drivers for change. I should actually quiz you all on them. You've heard them many, many times, but the whole reason why we embarked on this program in the beginning, we are stretched, we're being pulled in a lot of directions, there's a lot of reforms going on. Our community expectations of us are changing, and our community is growing. Our expectations and aspirations of our governance team are also changing, and our governance team itself is changing shortly as well. Developments in technology, which give us the opportunity to really reset ourselves as being fit to lead going forward using the best technology. We have been a little bit behind the eight ball in some of our technology in past, and we've made some great improvements. Obviously, our costs are rising. This one became more and more important as the program went on. The costs our community are facing have become tougher and tougher as time has gone on. And our team, our ambitions of our staff, they really want to do the very best. They want to serve our community. They want to feel empowered and enabled, and we as a council want to be an employer of choice. So it's pulling all of those things together, and it formed our priorities and our aspirations through the transformation program. Sorry, I know I'm going a little bit at pace here, if you wouldn't mind moving to the next slide. These were the key aspirations. Not going to go through them all again. Hopefully you can just about recite them in the shower. We want to be a part of our community, not just the government system. We don't want to be an obstacle. We want to be enabling, partnering. We want to be agile. We want to deliver more than we take from our community. We want to enable local ideas and democracy for all. These are some of the great aspirations that we have had through this program and that we will continue to have. So that was a whirlwind through what Alex would have done a whole lot more eloquently and over a bit more time, but I'm conscious you've had it many, many times. So Richard's going to, and Daniel going to talk us through some of the benefit realisation, and we've got some of the team here to show some of the snazzy tools and things that we've got in place that have been some of the outputs to date.
Thank you for this. So what we've got now is a little bit of round robin with some of the team. We're going to be talking about the benefits. But just to frame this up, there's lots of benefits. We're zooming in on the things that are customer oriented. There's benefits in project management. There's benefits in how we plan. There's lots of benefits. In the big pie, we're looking at one wedge, okay? So the first guest speaker we've got today, I believe, is Pam. And I'll just flash up your slide, Pam. Welcome to the hot seat.
Why, thank you. I think it's my favourite thing.
Pam is going to talk to us about the front face, the coal face of customer service, which is the customer liaison people and some of the quite radical changes we've been making in that space. Thanks, Pam.
Absolutely. So I probably would sit here all day if I could, because we have had some pretty major changes in the customer liaison team. So I guess starting, excuse me if I'm reading, but I'll forget everything. As we're all aware, we only get one chance to make a first impression, and it's really important that we do make that first impression in the right way to the right people. So pre-transformation, everyone will be aware that we worked mainly at headquarters and also at the Wahimo Service Centre. We always seem to forget that Palmerston has been doing what we're now doing for an awfully long time and doing it really well. We now cover the HQ, the library, and we're soon, hopefully, going to be working with the Service Centre and the Aquatic Centre and also our other facilities. So we're spreading our little tentacles far and wide to give our community the best opportunity to do their business with us. It was a really big job, and at times it felt really tough. But it was also a really good opportunity. The depth and breadth of what is required from a CLO is really, really enormous. And we needed staff that were trained, confident, and felt connected, but we also needed to do it quite quickly. So with the process, there were quite a few bumps along the way, as you can imagine, and I imagine there still will be quite a lot of bumps to come. I had to be very hands-on operationally as we cross-train people, which is not how I would normally operate as the manager of the team, but someone had to fill the gaps, and I was that person, and I did have to learn a lot of those things myself along the way. So I haven't asked my team to do anything that I'm not prepared to do or that I won't do. So we've now worked to cross-train people, and we've also taken a temporary pool of people to help us out. We had to train them, of course, but that also ensures gaps are filled for planned and unplanned leave. We've had to get really creative in the way we train people. We've used what I guess I would call blended learning, mixing different ways and also understanding how people learn. So that was putting, I guess, an example, new staff with experienced staff so they could learn from each other, because the different areas were experts in their particular area, but cross-training has really seen some people come to the fore, and they're actually enjoying some of the other parts of the business that they really hadn't had much contact with. And I guess that an example of how that training is working is when we transition from working 5 days a week to 6 with quite limited time and preparation, and working out of the library, opening on a Saturday. Previously, the library had been closed from time to time because of staff shortages, but bringing the wider team together has mitigated all of that, and I'm really happy that the library has not had to close as a result of any staffing shortages since the group was stood up in March this year. So I take that as a pretty big achievement. It's making council services available to people who may not have been able to take up their services during normal work hours. Some people still do like their personal touch. And also moving forward, if we have to close a service for any reason, as an example, the library to do any alignment of the physical library layout, customers are still going to be able to access our services via the other facilities, the Aquatic Centre to name one. So it's to keep that continuity of service for our community, and we've been getting some really good feedback from people that they are enjoying. They didn't think they were going to, but they actually are enjoying coming into our other venues to do their business. Trying to be realistic about this with our officers was quite a challenge as well, because we've asked a lot of our people to step right outside of their comfort zone. But we do want them to feel confident and able to give friendly professional service. And I guess the other side of that is that most people see this customer service side of our work, but there's also heaps going on in the background to keep everything running smoothly. It's a little bit like that swan we talk about gliding on the lake with its feet pedaling really hard underneath, and the team are working really hard to balance that. It can be a bit tricky, but we do have a system now called Employment Hero, which is payroll and a management system. And with the help of Employment Hero, the rostering, well, I have a senior in my team, and Marianne does the roster for me because she's got a better head for that than I have. And it just gets the schedule out there to everyone. Most people have the app on their phone, which is great. And when there's a shift available, if somebody's on leave or sick, Marianne can put those shifts out to bid, and the temporary staff or anybody who's actually not working can actually bid for those shifts. So it's made life a heap easier, and no one's running around making phone calls, emailing, begging people to work. So Employment Hero has also been a really good tool for us. So that's kind of us in a nutshell, a very small nutshell. We've got a very big nutshell, but and we've still got a long way to go. But I believe that we're well and truly on the way, and the staff, I have to say, I just would like to thank them all for embracing the changes and really coming along on the journey with this new way of working.
Thank you, Pam.
Okay.
Thank you, Pam. So I just to sort of add on to what Pam has just shared with everybody, we've done an awful lot of remodeling of systems, processes, training people, and we're gradually deploying that. We've deployed it to the library, and we're deploying it to more and more locations. And the benefit is to the customer. It's a customer-centric model where their needs come first. I know you're going to talk about ratepayers, but we're just going to ignore that bit. Customer-centric thinking. Yeah, I can tell. But my point is, now as we bring more and more of our facilities, which we've already got, into this way of working, we get consistency of service, we get a better structure of service, we get extended hours of service. There's so much in it that benefits the customer, and we've done an awful lot, and we just need to keep at it, and it will just get better and better. But now I just might pause for a tick. Thank you, Pam.
My
And we'll
pleasure.
let Daniel jump over, and we'll do a little bit of screen swapping.
Hang on,
'Cause-
I think there are
Sorry,
just a couple of
sorry,
questions, just a couple of questions for Pamela. Thank you so much for that. Jim.
Yeah, thank you. Just apropos of remodelling, I think we've had mention of the fact that there's going to be a not insignificant redesign in the library. When's it going to happen? And has anyone got any sort of concept drawings or anything of that sort? Because it would seem to me to be, I mean, I like the atmosphere in there, but it doesn't seem to me, the location of the desk at the moment doesn't seem right. And obviously the fact that we're redesigning it would suggest that that's a view shared by the ELT and others. So I don't know who answers that, you Pam or you Lisa or somebody.
I think given that Pam sat down, I'll jump in there. It is something that Chloe, Pam and the whole team are working on. There had been some planned realignment of layout in the library anyway, and I believe at the start of November is the first stage of that. And I'm going to be trying to get desk changes done either at that period or shortly after. I'd like to be going into Christmas with it absolutely done. We all agree the desk is not in the right place, including the staff, and there's some elements to it that we want to change so that cash handling and things like that can be done a bit with a bit more confidence also. So yeah, I would like to see that happen before Christmas. I am conscious that that's actually rolling around really quickly, and we want to do it once and do it right. This current desk was always a temporary one, and we're also looking at the sort of placemaking flow into the library, into the desk, the whole piece together.
Logic would suggest that the desk currently by the entrance, but perhaps parallel to the walkway, rather than at right angles to it, would make sense on either left or right hand side.
Cool, thank you. Probably just a couple of queries from me, just very quickly. Thank you very much, Pamela, for that. It's nice to hear from you in terms of that, how it's going. I think just some of the feedback is around just how do we protect privacy when customers are coming in and just considering that in terms of the reconfiguration. And then also, are we collecting data around the peak times, you know, like for inquiries and things so you can manage your workflow? Oh, yeah, cool.
Yep, again, just
Thank you.
given Pam sat down, yes, privacy is something that's part of that rework, including the option of privacy booths, things like that. And so that if anything does occur, that desk is not in the middle of the library and it disrupts everybody. And stats are being gathered in terms of who's coming in, when they're coming in, and we've also got the ability to use our camera tools via still shading faces to keep privacy of people, but to be able to see the flow through the library, the timings, the peak times, some really good information.
Thank you. So now just to continue with the flow of the conversation, Pam was just talking about some of the internal remodeling we've done. Now, what Daniel's going to do is give us a bit of a walkthrough of what some of that looks like, some of the technology. So this is live. It can go wrong, but fingers crossed, the machines all work. Thank you, Daniel.
Well, thanks for having me. Thanks for the privilege to present the technology that we've been implemented. And I also want to say that I haven't done all the work myself. I had a really fantastic team behind me who did most of the work. I'm just the one who can present here, so thank you. Right, so we have done quite a few things, and I want to start off with the one piece I think is tying a lot of those elements together, which is a single shared knowledge base that we've created. So what we've noticed is that a lot of people have pieces of information and documents on their computer, on little post-it notes, things how, you know, like guides or assistances and so on, information that they use to provide services. But it was scattered all over the place. People had different ways of storing it, different ways of consuming it. And we really wanted to bring it all together into one place where we have like a single source of truth where everything is stored and everyone can access the same information. And that's what we've implemented using an existing tool that we already had. And we have just made more use of that tool. So that delivers us various benefits, which is it helps us achieve our goal of solving 90% of the inquiries at first contact. It helps us give consistent responses across all the channels. It increases the staff confidence because every staff member has access to the information at their fingertips at all times, which is fantastic. It also helps us maintain the knowledge for continuity. We had there's always issues when somebody leaves and then some of the knowledge that they have is just leaving with those people. But by having this shared knowledge base where everyone contributes to it, we can maintain and retain that knowledge, which is very, very important. It also helps with faster onboarding and training because that knowledge is right there. We don't have to, create new stuff or find where the pieces of information are that we need. And it overall improves the customer service and the customer experience because of that. Saves time and reduces duplication, and also builds transparency and accountability because the things or the process that we use to provide the service is stored there so other people can access it and review it and help to improve it. Right. What I really love about the solution though is that we can access it internally via our agent assistant Copilot and a knowledge portal. Portals are the most important things. So the agent assistant Copilot is what our customer service team members use when they answer calls. The information is displayed to them in there, and then the knowledge portal is what everyone else can use and access the same information. The reason why we set it up this way is because we want to keep the costs low, and we don't want to spend license fees for Agent Assist for everyone to access it. We don't have to. So the knowledge portal allows everyone to access it without spending any extra money on it, which is good. And there's also the option for external use. So which is facilitated through our chat and messenger and through our knowledge app, which is on the website. I'm not going to show you in a minute. So how it works is basically, let's say we have a topic, an article about how to register your dog, and it's split into two areas. This is information that everyone internally can see to facilitate that service to our community members. And the other piece is what our community members can see and consume themselves. So this is how it's split, but it all lives in the same place. Right, so this is what the Genesis Cloud, our call center tool looks like. And I'll give you a little example of it. So what happens is a lovely community member calls in, it rings, and then a lovely staff member picks up the call, and then the community member would say, for example, can you help me register my dog, please? And then the system understands what the community member wants and displays our customer liaison officer the answer or the knowledge piece that is most relevant to that right in there. So they can click on it, they can follow the process, and it's just super speedy. But I mean, those are just screenshots and images, they're lovely, but I can show you a second. So what it looks like, let me just open our knowledge portal. So this is the, oh, apologies, I just need to swap the screen.
So effectively, it's giving staff script.
Yes, yeah, you could say that, yeah. Just need to change the screen one moment. There you go. So this is our Genesis Cloud call center solution. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this button. That means I'm live. I can receive calls. So a community member is calling now. And there's a little button. I say, yes, I definitely want to take this call. So, hi, this is Daniel speaking. I just moved into town and I wonder if you could help me register my dog. And what would happen is, you see there, it pops up and I can click on it because I'm new. I don't know anything about registering dog and I say, oh, okay, this is what I need to do in order to help our community member register the dog. And because I'm a new person in town, I also want to know, also, can I build a sheet in my garden without consent? It just takes a while. And then it says building something without consent. And I can click on it and I can see, oh yeah, you can build a sheet without consent if it's not higher than this, or if it's not too close to your neighbor's fence, or whatever it is. Yeah. So this is how it would work. And I say, oh, thank you very much. I can enter call. And then I save to remember what it was, and that's it. Right. Let me go back to the other screen.
Just, sorry, Daniel, just to
Yeah.
interrupt you. I mean, some of the beauty of this is when somebody calls in, our staff member doesn't have to hunt and search for the information. It's coming up at their fingertips, enabled by technology, and it's going to help us serve these people a whole lot quicker. It's quite exciting use of technology to enable us to make us more efficient, which is great.
But is it worth just, I mean, I know we talked about the benefits, saying that the prior state, prior to this, we had different staff members with different levels of knowledge, depending on how long they'd been here. We had inconsistencies, so sometimes customers were getting different bits of advice, but often with things as well, the customer operative didn't know the answer, so we're sending it into the back office to a specialist to get the answer for the customer. The specialist might not be there, so they're going to have to get a call back, and all that built in inefficiency, and the customer's waiting for their answer. So this really helps in terms of giving the knowledge to the customer operative straight away, builds that consistency, and stops those phone calls going into the back office and potential delays in getting the customer the answer.
It's really
Yes.
awesome.
If you'd accept intended as a constructive comment, I'd reverse the order of the first two paragraphs in the dog one. I think the first paragraph should be, well, you can register here, and here, and then the information about why you have to do it. Because the first paragraph you've got at the moment kind of slaps people in the face with bureaucracy.
Yeah, that is a good point. What we have also done is we have implemented we call them knowledge champions. So it's about 25 people from within the council, people from every area that volunteered to help us maintain the knowledge base. And I'll show you how it works, but with feedback from our community and from our colleagues and staff to improve the knowledge base going forward, to just make it better over time. And that's a good example. If somebody raised that, we can use that information and adjust that article accordingly. So that was the internal way of how our customer liaison officer would use it. And for everyone else, we have this knowledge portal. It works the same way. It's the same information, just the access is slightly different. So you would just click on this button here. I want to know about animal management. I want to register my dog. And then I can have the information there. And this also allows all of our colleagues to say, wait a moment, this is not accurate anymore. Something has changed, and they can click this button here. And it didn't solve the issue. And then they can leave a comment, which goes straight back into knowledge base. Our knowledge champion see that comment and see, all right, that's not updated anymore. Or I need to update that. They can change it, save, and it's instantly updated and live. So it just really helps with having the up-to-date and correct information at all times for everyone. Right. So that was the way we internally consume that knowledge. The other way is the external way. And we have on our website, I'm not sure if you've seen it, there's this funny little button at the lower right corner. And if you click on it, we'll open this little box. And that is our chat and messenger function. So what you would do is you click on message us, and then there's a message box. And then you can say, look, hi there, I have more than 3 dogs. What do I do? And then the system uses that information, scans our knowledge base, and then gives you some suggestion of what the most suitable answer would be. And then I could say, oh yeah, it's number 1, thank you. And then it will give me the content of that article, and I basically can self-service myself. I don't have to wait for someone. I have all the information right there. I have also then the option to say, am I happy with this? Is this all I need? And I can say yes, or I can say, oh no, actually, it doesn't really answer my question completely, and I can click here on no. And then I can say, okay, what else is it? And then, oh, I have 4 dogs at 2 different properties. How does that work? And then our system would use this information and then would again look, is there anything that matches? And in this case, there's nothing really that matches that specific question. And then, and then I have the option to say, yeah, none of these. And then the system would say, oh, you know what? I just connected to one of our agents. And this is the part that we call the chatbot that everybody's afraid of. So it's not really talking to a robot. It's really just while you wait to be connected to one of our custom liaison officers, you can already consume some of that content there. That might already help you, solve your question, or maybe allow you to adjust it if you need detailed specific information. So it's not about replacing the team members helping you. It's just, giving you an opportunity to maybe self-service or get the answer quicker.
So these are not being linked. The person on the phone would hear people asking this.
Oh, this is the chat. This is the messenger on the website. We use your phone on. It's just right. Yes. Yes. This specific one. Yes. Yeah.
The beauty of this also is that if somebody's got a question on Sunday evening, they can pop it in, they can ask the question, they can self-serve, they don't even have to call us. They can maybe then get access to the form they need. And again, it's about reducing the interactions with council that are going across multiple systems, multiple people, making it seamless, making it easy to access their services at times that suit our customers.
We're also trying to make it non-annoying, basically. We're not forcing people over and over and over again through the same loop. So if the answer doesn't exist the second time you ask, we'll connect you to someone. And in some cases, when somebody types something in that is the system cannot find it at all in knowledge base, you will be straight connected to an agent. So we're not forcing you through that loop for no reason.
I can see how it works on here, but sorry, it's very important that we do not lose the human component of it. And there's always curious questions come around, and there's always, sometimes it's better to sit around across from each other and talk it through. And the other thing, please do not put funeral music on while we're listening there waiting to be connected to someone, or whatever that horrible stuff that goes round and round. Put something decent on, like
Lovely feedback. Yes,
like the Pink Panther or something crazy like that.
Yes.
It's just something that, yeah. Otherwise it drives you
I
nuts.
will have a look at that. The music is.
Let's go.
As for not removing the connection to a human being, at any time you could just say, can I talk to someone? And it will instantly connect you to somebody. So we have trained the robot well. So the other option apart from the messaging chat function is you can push the button again, and then you can use this box down here, and that allows you just to scroll through all of the stuff that is in the knowledge base, all of those different articles. And you can say, you can either type it in, register multiple dogs, for example, or you can click in here, animal management, more than 3 dogs, and then you get the same content as well. And the lovely part about this is, if you see this box here that I make flash up, those are links to the online forms. So if you click any of those, you're connected to an online form. that you can then fill out and register your dog and complete it all in the app. So if you don't want to talk to someone, which we don't stop you from doing, you can at any time just use that and get it sorted on a Sunday, like Lisa said, without having to wait for a Monday. That's the plan. Right. So speaking of online forms, so we have digitized a bit over 80 forms now that were only available before in PDF version. That means that at any point of time, you just go to our website and select the form or search for the form that you need and just fill it out online, pay if it's a paid service, and happy ever after. It provides a lot of different benefits. It obviously increases our self-service options, removes the manual data entry for staff, because in the past, somebody would come in, we give them a form or they download a form from the website, they have to manually write in. My handwriting, for example, is horrific. People couldn't read it. So it stops people from having to, identify what I've written and just manually type it in. It allows also users to save the progress and come back later to it. It helps out the users with guided fields. Yes.
With these forms, I think that's where I would fit, but is there a guideline, so if you're applying for this is the form you need? Because there's nothing worse than filling out a form, sorry, I put it the wrong way.
Yeah. Not totally, yeah, those forms are available on the website under the specific area that you look for. If you look for something specific on our website, you would find that form and then you can fill it out. But the form itself also explains what it is and what it does, and also guides people through it with, comments of what they need to enter in those fields, which also reduces the amount of incorrect filled out forms.
All I'm saying, that form, a lot of very impatient.
Yep.
And like get it filled out and get the job done, so it's gonna spend half an hour, I'm gonna spend half an
Yep.
hour.
Yeah.
Get there and find
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. No, we've tried to make it very clear what the forms are, but we're always happy to receive feedback and adjust accordingly. But we try to make it as easy as possible, because I love instant satisfaction. I don't like waiting at all. That also reduces the incomplete and invalid entries they receive, and then fewer times our team members need to follow up. Oh,
Brent,
sorry.
Brent.
Yes, sorry, didn't see that. Yes, Brent?
Yeah, I was just going to comment on that. One of the things I've found, because I've just done like my renewal of my manager's license, and it's not a compulsory thing, but I found it really good, I guess, industry-wide, that there's been some questions added in there to ensure that we're still up to date with knowing some of the legislation, which I guess would be saving Caroline from making a phone call afterwards to do those checks manually. So, and also there's been a couple of wee issues that I've found, and the team have been very quick at updating those forms. But overall, that's one of the big benefits I particularly see in our industry, is the knowledge checking on the way through as well. So it's been thought outside of the square a bit. So well done.
Thanks for the feedback. I appreciate that. Also, yeah, so fewer times our staff member would need to follow up with our community member and ask, what they meant, or if asking for additional information if it wasn't filled out correctly. Increases accuracy in the first time resolve, and faster processing of the request through our system, because before you would hand the document in or email it, somebody has to type it in manually. But now it's instantly connected to wherever it has to go. So you would remove some steps, because it might be a form for a specific area in our business, and they fill it in and it goes directly to them without having to go through multiple hands to type it in manually and check in and going back to the customer. So speed, it's very good. Right, and environmentally friendly. We don't have to chop any more trees down, and less paper, which is always good. The way that you can access the forms are via our Messenger chat and the Knowledge app, which is that little green box, and also on our website in multiple places. So we have one page that is called Apply for It. It's basically a list of all the different forms that have been digitized. And additionally, the link to those specific forms are on the specific knowledge article pages on our website. So if you go to the dog registration page, you will find the online form for the different dog registration forms that we have. And how does it look like? You can always go to the website and give it a go. Maybe just if you stop at the last page, you don't send it through. Here, that's what it would look like. You start off progress 0 and you just fill in information. It tells you what you need to fill in. It throws an error if it's not correct. If it requires a specific field, for an assessment number or an invoice number, it won't let you continue unless it's actually an assessment number that is valid in our system. You just go through that and then fill it all in. You confirm. You put in your signature, and then you submit it, and then it's done. And then the lovely part that happens then is it will turn, in most cases, into a case, which means it goes straight to our case management department, who will, and the most suitable person is going to deal with it. And that is the time for me to hand over to Josh, who is going to enlighten you about that part of the process.
So thank you, Daniel. We'll make some space for Josh to jump up. So Pam has covered off, I guess, the entry level when most customers come into our customer service process. Daniel's now covered off some of the technology, which really sort of exemplifies a lot of the internal remodeling that we've done with systems. Now, this is another element of remodeling, but it's to do with how we work, our processes and our people. So a lot of training and process changes. Thank you, Josh. Let me just share screen for you. Hold tight.
Jim, did you have a question or comment?
Just before we move on, can I, first of all, I'm just staggered at the fact that so much of this has been done in-house. It's a huge tribute to the capacity to reinvent how we operate within the organisation. Again, what is intended is a constructive comment and question. I'm just curious to know who wrote the answers that we saw on those knowledge apps and so on, because my immediate thought is they haven't been put through the plain and simple English filter. They still have a slight whiff of bureaucracy about them, and I'm just wondering if and when that might be amended.
Very good spotting. As Daniel highlighted earlier, we've got this group of knowledge champions. At the same time, we've had our branding work done, the plain language guide done, and there's going to be quite a project of updating all that information, to make sure everything's right. We've got that one source of truth, but also to put it into that plain language speak.
Can I just add, so I know it doesn't sound all perfectly polished English. What I wanted to get the content out. So what we've done is we've reached out to all the people in the organization and asked them to confirm that the content of it is correct. And so as a first iteration, it's all online. It can be used. What we're doing now is with our knowledge champion, we're going through it together with our comms team and just curate it and make it sound much more cohesive. Because with 25 different people writing the way they write, and with me, English not being my first language, it's just maybe sounds a bit off sometimes, but the content is spot on.
You get it right first, and then worry about how it reads here.
That's right.
Thank you, Daniel.
Just quickly, team, I'm just wondering whether to help fix that that language barrier. I know that I run an awful lot of my comms through, a trained AI model actually to make the comms consistent. I'm just wondering whether that was an option as well to get some consistency, because I did notice that on the knowledge base the other day. Some of it's obviously, each team member is updating it, and whilst it makes perfect sense, just to get a tone and a simple English model, maybe that could be a good way of doing it.
Just to reply to that, our comms team have been dabbling a bit more and more in the AI space with some mixed results of lately, but then that comes to building our training and development and how to prompt it correctly. But yeah, all of these sorts of tools will be being used, and we have used it quite successfully in our people and capability space over the last year or so as well. So definitely.
Awesome.
All right. Good morning, all. I've brought two of the team members up. They are behind me, KJ and Tracy. Now, they're probably people you may never have set face on, but you may have shared an email or a phone call with them. They're part of the case team. Nestled away down in the bottom corner of the HQ, there's a whole bunch of them. On a typical day of work, they can be found working on any of the following processes: LIMS, issuing and building and planning consents, vetting building and planning applications, rapid number facilitation, resource consents, alcohol licensing, food and health registrations, complex project and proposal inquiries, LGOIMAs, parks and fields bookings, drone permits, filming permits, managing regulatory, building case and planning, email inboxes, MB, brands returns, monthly reporting, territorial authority, auditing for planning and invoicing. So quite the hard-working, diligent team with a raft of skills. So it did make sense that we better develop our customer service team within council to have a better, more efficient communication with our customers. When customers can't get an answer from any of the systems listed and discussed previously with Pam and Daniel, they make their way through to us through a shared case management system. Sometimes this requires a little triaging, and that's where the case team starts their magic work. Knowing that inquiries could have multiple areas of council requiring feedback of data or interaction, the responsible case officer finds the right people to get the query request in front of them. Making sure we get the information in a timely manner when we collect it all and send it back to the customer to ensure a more optimized reply, a reply that should be more efficient and have the answers needed. Sometimes there's a bit of back and forth. With the case officers handling communication side of things, customers don't need to talk to half a dozen different people at once or to navigate the sometimes quite complex systems, making the interactions with us smoother and more seamless. Leading into the locality side of the case team with the locality officers. The locality officers have been out and about in the community, getting to know locals and getting on with some of the quick and easy requests coming in from the public. Locality officers have met with their local respective community board members, and the feedback received is that the community boards are really enjoying the locality model right from its introduction. They're really enjoying having the officers there in person, attending meetings and meeting the community and are feeling supported, highlighting that we are seeing this key benefit of the transformation program and our new ways of working. Locality officers have been taking on some jobs that would typically have seen our engineers and officers tied up in the field, such as asset data logging, inspection of grazing leases, water meter readings, parking, abandoned vehicles, illegally dumped waste, supporting the case officers where needed, initial environmental and noise nuisances, assisting the capital contract inspectors and area leads. All of this will continue to grow and develop as we work hard to serve our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. So we just covered off the entry point, the systems, and then the back end of the customer service process, which is the case officers level 2 is what we call it. If you remember the diagram, we had a funnel. The idea is we push as much up front to resolve it automatically at first point of contact, because it's good for the customers and it's good for us. Because the sooner we can turn something around, happy customer, less time for us. So it's a good customer service model. Sorry, Lisa.
Just to jump in, I know we are running tight for time, but you know, we just wanted to demonstrate the tremendous amount of work that's been going on behind the scenes with the customer liaison team, with the case team, with the locality team, with the transformation team, with almost every element across council, as they've been helping us redesign processes, systems, technology, people, training, culture. There's been so much going on. It is very back end stuff, but it's starting to really make a difference now in how we're actually serving our customer, and our people are getting more and more confident in it. And as Pam said, we've still got a bit of work to do. We know that, and it's going to be an ongoing focus for us, and we're going to continue improving as we go through. But just to celebrate some of these wins, and we will be going out to our community with communications on some of these wins as well. You'll see you interact with us differently now. You'll have much more seamless interactions with us now. Those sort of stories, and giving examples and success stories along the way. Thanks.
Yeah, just a question for Josh. Your location officers, when they find something, I mean, you describe a huge scope of what they got to do, but if they find something that is going wrong, maybe a water leak or a block culvert or whatever it might be, do they contact our contractors, or do they have to come back and go through the whole process with senior management, blah, blah?
Not necessarily. Each situation, I guess, is treated on case by case basis. Sometimes it is as easy as when I discussed reaching out to the area leads in having that conversation and making contact with the contractors. They have that ability to go straight to and get that job done, but they've got the ability to get on site and human interaction, try and a more common sense approach rather than someone to deal with it in-house.
So we're improving it to the fact that we don't have to go through that process in the past that we've gone through management and area manager, departmental manager, and then if it's a major, we've got to get a clearance from the the senior team or whatever. So they have the delegation to repair and fix, bang.
They have their responsibilities and they know how far they can go. Sure, there'll be some things that are outside their field. They are generalists, but yep, they'll bring in the subject matter experts, talk to the people who need to be there. Yep, for sure.
Just a quick comment. So you mentioned earlier that 90% of the inquiries are dealt with at first, like contact. So the ones that'll be coming through via case management, like system, that's the 10%, which means they're a lot more complex.
Yes, so the target is 90% of everything is solved in that first encounter, whether it be someone coming and doing a form themselves or walking in or a phone call, whatever the case may be. And the last 10% are indeed what we are believing is going to be left over because it's too complex to handle in, say, 10 minutes.
And just on that, the knowledge base that Daniel talked a little bit about earlier as well, one of the key goals of this is that information, as he highlighted, is available to all staff. So if I'm talking to somebody on a matter and then they give me a question that they would normally ask a customer liaison officer, I too can jump into that knowledge base and answer that for them in that first point of contact. So that's how far customer service is just not the responsibility solely of our customer liaison and customer experience and locality teams.
Okay, thank you. So slight change of gear now. We're going to jump into some work we did just recently called the Gateway Check-in. So our transformation program, as you're all aware, is a very ambitious program. I've not seen it in any other council in New Zealand. It's very ambitious. It touches all aspects of this entire operation. So we've had a Gateway Check-in, which is, I guess you can say it's like going to the doctor. We've gone and had a bit of a checkup, a bit of a look at where we're up to, figure out what might be outstanding to the end of this year when our goal is to close the program. So we've gone through and had a really good look at where we're up to, and we've covered off all sorts of aspects. We interviewed lots of our staff, we looked at lots of artifacts, and we sort of reconciled what we did against our initial goals. Sorry, I'm going to move really quickly, but I will pause for some questions and things, as I also have a couple of other sections to touch on. So we've developed a report that sort of summarises where we're up to. But now I'll just quickly move into, so what does the report say? It basically says, overall, we've been quite successful. We've implemented a new target operating model, which is a change to the entire business, every role, every function, every mission of every team. We've introduced a new customer service model. Yes, we've still got parts of the business we need to roll it out to. However, we've constituted a pretty big change. We've got lots of different systems, whole new processes, lots of staff trained, and now we just need to finish that job off. The locality model is quite a change in how we do things. We've introduced that as well. We've just heard some commentary from Josh around how that's being received, and so far, so good. There's obviously some little tweaks and improvements we're going to have to do, but that's called continuous improvement. Our systems, we've introduced or revamped lots of different pieces of technology. We've reimagined how we use some of our existing systems, which is quite good because it saves a bit of money. And then, as I alluded to earlier in the session, we've just looked at the customer segment of this benefits, this pie of benefits. But there's also other benefits in how we're going about comms and engagement. We've had really high levels. You'll see our communications in the media, online, etc. The uplift there is gargantuan compared to where we were, say, 12 or 24 months ago. Project management approaches, how we prioritize things, how we plan, lots of different benefits. So I think it's important to take into account that this whole piece of work that we've so bravely undertaken has been running in parallel to some massive central government changes. So it's easy to forget that it was only 2 or 3 years ago we had the Labor government's view of water and what that meant for us. And we went through lots and lots of work to get our heads around that. And now under the current government, we've got a new water regime that we're also coming to terms with. We've also had lots of pressure on our finances with LTPs and so on. And then we've had district plans, the list kind of goes on. So we've done this transformation and everyone's pitched in while we're keeping the lights on in a very tumultuous time. The pressures have continued on even up to today. Even we're still figuring out what we're doing for water services delivery plans. We've got the local government's system improvements bill, which was all those DIA profiles I introduced a few weeks back, and also reforms to resource management. So we're having to navigate a really complex landscape while we do all of this. And I think this is why this is seldom seen in most local governments. There's not many around the country that take on something as significant as this. It's quite a brave piece of work. So we've done this check-in and we've basically come to the conclusion that we have got some great successes that we should be celebrating, and we still have some work that we need to focus on to get us to December to really consolidate some of those wins and embed it in the business. And then we'll move into a framework of continuous improvement so that going forward, we look to continuously improve what we do. So it's a way of thinking. It's a cultural thing. I might just pause briefly on that because then I'll just dive into the project updates, just so mindful of time. No, okay, thank you. So project updates, just quickly. So what are we tackling right now? So still on the customer front, we're tackling what we're doing for our knowledge base, and we're looking particularly at self-service bookings. So Opera House, things in the library, aquatic centre, parks, gardens, sports fields, you name it. Later this year, we'll be, I guess, rolling out the system that will slowly drip feed new things that you can book. So you don't even have to call. You can just get online, fill in a little form, and then you can book the facility or whatever it is you might be. Matt sitting behind me is probably thinking about the Network Waitaki Sports and Event Centre. So we'd like to be able to have that with very minimal staffing. So systems like this help us save money in the future. So from the program's point of view, we're doing a lot of work still in the customer space, and yeah, oodles to do. You'll get these slides, you can go through them later. Unified systems, this is also just following up on the customer booking stuff. There'll be a little portal that people can get onto online. And that should be another game changer for us. Service integration. So this is joining our business processes together. So historically, we've looked at our customer service as being quite separate to people going out into the field and filling potholes, repairing works, etc. Now, what we're doing is we're joining up that whole business process so that the minute the work is done, whether it be a week later or several months later, because we don't necessarily do all works the minute we get it, it might need to be a renewal. We can send a message back to customer service who can then reach out to the customer and say, that thing you needed us to look at 3 months ago, the roading team have been out, it's repaired now, how did you find it? So we've never had that ability to close the loop so perfectly. That's what that piece of work is working towards. Performance management, we're trying to line up our organisational KPIs. We're trying to get them to flow throughout and cascade through the whole business and integrate with our long-term planning and annual planning processes. So we've still got, we're trying to refine our thinking in that and really marry up the ambitions of the golden thread with what we see in annual plans and long-term plans, which is the things people actually do day to day. So there's quite a bit still to refine and sort out in that. And it's very important because you guys have a very important role in that as well with setting that ambitions and KPIs and so on. So what's next? I'm not sure if I'm over time, but I'll just progress on, Chair.
You got 4 minutes.
Oh, good. Well, that's working out. Sorry, it's a bit of a whirlwind at the end. So what's next? From our health check-in, our gateway check-in, we've identified several pieces of work and some people to help us deliver. And we've set ambitions to get these very close to finalised or deeply embedded by December. So it doesn't leave us with a lot of time. So we've found some things in performance management, customer service that we've alluded on earlier today, that we're going to focus our resources on and get these things done. As I touched on previously, where we need to embed improvement or follow on and continue some work after Christmas, we're going to embed that inside of continuous improvement. So financially, we're still sitting really quite well. We're under budget of the original I think it was 4.5, but in the finance system it says 4.495. But let's not quibble about that. So financially, we're still well under budget and tracking really quite nicely, and we'll continue on. We'll transition into continuous improvement, but we will formally close the program December 2025. So it will be done and dusted. So I guess a different way to look at what's outstanding heading through to December. We've got some great things coming live that should delight the community and our customers. So we'll have the Citizen Central go live, which is a portal gym. We'll have more expansion to our customer service model, so we'll pick up more locations. We should have our booking system go live. And we should see some great changes in performance management and things like that. So the last few slides are a bit of a whirlwind, but just trying to keep it on track. Any questions at all, please?
Awesome. Thank you, Richard. Any questions or last comments? Yeah, Jim.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Just by way of a comment, when we look around the table here, we're probably a reflection of the age structure of our community. Some of the community are probably not as computer literate as others are. So I'd ask that that's kept front of mind. But the other thing I'd just like to endorse Councillor Hopkins' point about language. And in actual fact, I sit on council, but I have read some of the articles that we have put out about transformation, and at the end of it, I'm thinking that is a load of gobbledygook and horse shit. We actually need to be direct and say, we're improving. The aim is to improve this. We've improved this so far, we're working on this, and have people understand instead of having them in the vacuum of not understanding, so they make up their own stories.
Thank you. Just a couple more comments because we're running out of time, Jim, and then John, did you have
Just a very quick question. That last package of slides, can we see that? Because it's quite salient. I mean, I don't know if you intend to provide the whole package this morning, but certainly that last bit, things like the budget, so on, would be helpful for us to have.
Yeah, I believe Arlene will share them. Yep.
Cool. Thank you, John.
Yeah, look, I'd just like to endorse Jim's comments. Really, keep it simple. Stupid is a great way to be, and makes life easy for everybody. But I'd also like to congratulate everybody involved in what you've done and the amount of stuff behind the scenes that has made the foundation for this to work. And the proof in the pudding will be in the next 6 months when the ratepayers start using the system. And so if that works and flows, then yeah, and I hope it does, because you put a lot of work into it, and I can see future benefits and systems making this whole thing work a lot faster than it does at the minute. So thank you.
Awesome. And I just want to echo what John has said. Just huge congratulations to the whole team. It's a fantastic update and it's really exciting. And I think with the feedback that's given, do take it as constructive feedback. We've always got room for improvement, but it's exciting, you know, looking at it. So thank you very much. Lastly, Tim, and then I'll give it to Lisa.
Yeah, thanks very much. And yeah, it's really cool to see how it's all come together and hear from the people that are kind of owning the different parts of it. I had a question in that regard with the transformation team closing down, and you talked about continuous improvement going forward. How is that kind of aspect going to be owned, and like, will there be kind of regular check-ins, or what's the kind of planning for that?
Yep. So I guess the translation into what this means going forward is fundamentally this program has been a continuous improvement enterprise. We've set up a vision, we've looked at what we could improve on, we've set projects in place, and it's become a way of working. It's how we think about things. And so going forward, when it comes to continuous improvement, well, we're going to build that into how we do our planning and delivery. So to sort of simplify that, when we think of our long-term plan and annual plan, what we'll be doing is we'll be thinking about what we want to improve and working backwards from that. What target do we want to achieve? Do we want to increase something in customer service? You know, do we want to bring a service delivery time down, increase some widget or something somewhere? And then we build that into our annual plans and long-term plans, and then they become projects or initiatives. And then you see them, they flow through that channel, that cycle, and they get agreed to. But what's important is it's the frame of mind that we're customer focused. What is the improvement we want to make? And then we figure out what we want to do to get there. There will be some more changes coming in how we operate, but you guys will be at the head of that because you'll be setting the vision and the KPIs, and we'll cascade them down through the organization. But there will be, there's my team, and we'll be working on these sorts of things.
Great. Thank you, Richard. I'll just pass it to Lisa and then we're going to wrap up there. Thank you.
I just recognising this is our last formal update in this triennium, I want to just put on record a thank you to the whole team across the organisation that's been working so incredibly hard on this. I know we've pushed people probably too hard at times, but also to thank Council for being brave and taking up this program and having the commitment to us all wanting to achieve more in our community. It has been incredibly ambitious. I have not seen another one of this size in this country, and a thank you to Alex for bringing this to us as well and having the faith in us as staff to be able to deliver a program like this. As I said, we're not finished, but boy, we've come such a long way. So just thank you for your courage.
Thank you very much, Lisa, for that. And it'll be nice to have some kind of comms, you know, like to the community, just to help understand the timeline and the journey that it's gone through and what the benefits would be for the community. So yeah, huge thank you to you, Alex, and the team for your hard work. Thank you.